recording.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the Say Report. This is Cjin here. I'm here with my co-curator, I was gonna say. My host companion, Devin. Hey man.
Hi, I'm Devin Decker.
We are here today to celebrate Ninjativity once again, with the most elusive ninjas of all, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
look, I'm gonna be
The
honest with
brightly
you.
colored, loud as fuck, quippy
They,
ninja.
they are ninjetti in this movie. This is the most ninja film to come out in 1995, if you don't count Three Ninjas Knuckle Up. But we already talked about that in our last episode.
There's a reason we don't.
Yeah, this was, you know what? I'm ripping open the curtain, and everybody's gonna see what we got here. All right, I guess I'm ripping open the time warp. Pay no attention to the man behind the time warp, Sejin. This is Sejin's baby right here, and this is an episode I do not when. All I know is that this show, first of all, Power Rangers has been part of our friendship pretty much since I can remember. Because we went to the Westerly Walmart, the original and only 24-hour Walmart in the state of Rhode Island at the time that we knew each other. That we met each other, because we've known each other for 20 years. And that night that we went to the Westerly Walmart in the $5 DVD bin. Remember the $5 DVD bin? In the $5 DVD bin at the Walmart was...
Yeah, man.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, and Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. Separate. It was not even like a 2-pack. It was $10, and you could own for your very own all of the Power Rangers movies. I almost said Ninja Turtles. And Cjin and I lost our minds. That is like the nicest way to put it. Like, too late to be at a Walmart, we found these movies and we bought these movies. And it has always seemed to me that, like, this... I know it's probably not. If it is, then you'll tell me, right? We've got a whole episode that we're going to be talking about Power Rangers, the movie, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie from 1995. But I always thought of this as one of your favorite films. Down to the fact that after... we had both graduated, so it might have been 2010. My guess is it was 2011, or maybe even like 2012, 2013. I found for you a Ivan Ooze action figure.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember giving it to you in the parking garage of the Providence Place Mall. So, like, the Providence Place Mall at Christmas was definitely a thing that you and I did. It was not just because where this show was born, but it was like a nice sort of neutral location, like the gym from West Side Story, where we could get together at Christmas time. And I remember gifting you an Ivan Ooze action figure, and you lost your fucking mind, if my memory... You're like, holy fuck, what the Ivan Ooze? So when it comes to Ninjativity, and I know you're thinking, oh, what is this? As on the day we're recording this, it is the third day that the Magi are venturing to the star that they saw in the sky to signal the birth of Jesus. And when you're listening to this via podcast apps, it is the fourth day. And on YouTube, it is the fifth day. So, like, we are right in the thick of nativity season right now. So it's still Ninjativity appropriate.
Yeah.
And I have thought in the back of my head ever since then that one day I'd really like to record a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie episode of something with Cjin. and here it is.
So man, I'm excited to talk about this movie. But yeah, so like, you mentioned watching it. Shit, was this on mic or was this off mic? You mentioned watching it with mom and mom having some feelings.
No,
about
that was
the movie.
before we were on microphone, but it's okay.
Yeah, no, it's just funny because my mother, I remember distinctly my mother bringing me, and I think Zach was with us, but I do remember me and Mom going to the movie theater to see this movie. We went to the when the Dirt Theater, before the Dirt Theater was a Dirt Theater, and it was the Hoyts, like actual cinema. We went to that one. I remember walking in. I remember sitting down. I remember the opening scene of this movie with them, uh, parachuting
Skydiving.
out, and then I never remember the rest of this movie. And this is not me saying that like it's a forgettable film. I don't know what it is because I watched this movie and I very much enjoy my time with it. But I guarantee you, if you ask me a month from now what happens after they land, after Tommy lands that fucking sick slide on the board, um, like I couldn't fucking tell you. I couldn't. I wouldn't. I won't be able to tell you what the rest of the. So we got to record this shit quick before I forget.
Dude, you can't remember it like tomorrow. Dale didn't remember it at the end of the film. Like that straight up. Okay, so I have found the action figure I got you. Apparently, it was released November 30th, 2018, which is just insane to me. That cannot be true. But it was a Toys R Us exclusive figure. I remember that. So I think maybe it is true.
Damn.
Damn. Like I can't. I wish someone had a picture of the back of the box, not just the front of the box. Yeah, original 1995 movie figure. Sorry. Yeah, no, Dale couldn't remember. Like the comet comes up. Spoilers for Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, as we celebrate its 30th anniversary. If you haven't seen it up to this point, like, I'm sorry that we're ruining this film for you.
I don't think that we can ruin this. This is not the kind of film that's going to be ruined by knowing what the story is. In fact, I think this is one of those movies that gets better on rewatches because there is no surprise anymore, right? Like you're just
good.
excited for the goofy shit that's to come. We're gonna spoil it only in the like most textbook sense of the word.
Right.
But
I just want to make sure that people are to say before I say any of the things that I'm about to say, because I got some stuff loaded up I'm ready to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Chekhov's gun of this movie is Ryan's comet. And when they get to the point where like, oh my God, Ryan's comet, that could be how we kill Ivan Ooze. Dale goes, am I supposed to know about this comet? Like, has this been mentioned previously? And legitimately, that is the reason they are skydiving in the beginning of this film.
Yeah, right.
It's first of all, can we talk about, I don't know if it's so 90s or just so completely unbelievable that the high school is having 8 of their students skydive to raise money for like the planetarium / observatory.
Yeah, well, so whenever I think about exactly that, there's this moment in my head and I don't know if this is true or not, but as far as I'm concerned, the Power Rangers, the kids go to school in Southern California.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know if it's established really, but that's always been what I've imagined. And it's because of shit like this, because that's just what kids in high school in California get to do, right? Like because I grew up with like with kids in high schools in California. I mean, every TV depiction of them was them having sex and doing drugs and getting into like, gun battles and shit like that. So like I was convinced that it was basically the Wild West anyway, and that these kids had the money to do anything, right? Because every movie you saw was also California kids that basically were just throwing big parties with kegs and shit, like it's like okay, so these people have all of the money and no worries and no concerns. So of course they do crazy stuff like a skydiving club at the high school.
Well, it's not a skydiving club. Like, the really crazy thing is that it's a fundraiser. You know how expensive it is to skydive? Like, just think about that. Think about the cost. I'm going to look up the cost to skydive now.
I actually, I
Skydiving
have a family member that
cost.
used to, in his younger days, used to be a videographer for skydiving. So like you could pay extra when you were doing the skydiving for him to come along and videotape you the whole time. And then he'd, clean it up and send it to you later, the type of deal. So like he would jump, I think he would jump at most 3 times a day, but I think it was generally only once or twice a day. And he would basically do that for 2 or 3 days, then take 4 days off, then do that for 2 or 3 days, and then take 4 days off. He said it was one of the best jobs he ever had, but like, also one of the most dangerous things he
Oh
ever
yeah.
did. So like he very quickly decided it was not the best place to be.
Okay, so AI overview from Google. Skydiving costs typically range from $200 to $400 for a first-time tandem jump. First of all, they're solo jumping. They're not jumping with somebody else who's a seasoned skydiver.
Yep.
So, like, let's talk about that. Like, that's unbelievable. This we're going to talk about what's unbelievable in the movie
But
about
they're also
16
jumping out of like a delivery plane.
Yeah, like they're jumping out of like the little planes
Like,
that are
I half
used in
expected Baloo to turn
skydiving.
around from the front. Like,
Yeah, it's like a cargo plane. You're not wrong. But there are
so I
student
wonder if this is like an
military-
unlicensed jump, is what I'm getting
Yeah,
at.
probably.
It's like,
Well, they're also jumping into like the city. Like they're jumping in like
into a crowd of
in
people,
a crowd of
man.
people.
Like,
And they're also not the only people who jump, because Fred Kellman, we're going to get to Fred Kellman. Fred Kellman's dad, like, respected firefighter, who I don't think he's ever given anything other than Mr. Kellman or dad, as far as a turn. Right. He also did a skydive that day, and he landed in the parking lot, which, like,
right.
That seems like, oh my God, how are you okay? Like, also, how is Tommy Oliver okay? Because he skydived with a fucking snowboard. And then, like, yeah, I know, I do this all the time, apparently. I'm going to make it soar. I'm bringing Point Break to the next fucking level. Surfing in the sky.
Like, yeah, like skyboarding or cloud surfing or whatever the fuck it.
Oh, what do we kick Cloud Kicker now? If you're going to bring up Tailspin, I can tailspin with you. Oh, yeah.
But really, honestly, it's really unlocking a lot of like mysteries for me. My love of Tailspin and me only being able to remember the beginning of this movie. But there's this, there's plenty like that is an extreme sport, like silly ass thing. You go to any bar and watch Chive TV for 2 seconds and you'll see a video of somebody like skydiving with a board. It's just that I don't think that you're supposed to land with it.
Yeah, you're supposed to you take it off.
You eject from it.
Yeah.
Right, you eject from it at some point, cuz like I've seen guys that do like skateboarding up in the air and shit like that and all sorts of weird stuff, and like they're always, you wait until you're low enough on the ground that you're not going to like whack somebody in the head with it, but you get rid of it, because the last thing you want when you're about to hit the ground and you're supposed to fucking tuck and roll, which none of these motherfuckers
No,
do.
they all just land. It's like fucking pilot wings up in here.
Yeah,
they're
crazy.
Aiming for a bullseye and they just land on their feet.
But like you don't want to have anything with you when you're about to do that, so like you just eject everything, including the chute, which they don't do either.
Yeah, they just run in. It is the most bananas. It is the thing that I have had the most conversations about regarding Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, is the skydive opening. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's
Well, it's, you know what it is, man, is it's them throwing their dick on the table and saying, look at what we've got for this movie. We look at the budget, look at the talent, because I mean, at the end of the day, this movie is goofy as shit. This movie is dumb. This movie is silly, and in some ways, kind of pointless, because it doesn't do anything to advance like
not true.
Any real
not true. The Ninjativity outfits and the Ninja Zords become.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, advance. I mean that the canon is changed by this film.
It doesn't advance like the quality or of the art in any way. There's no after this Power Rangers got really good. Like that's not like Power Rangers. This is towing the line of the show, right, and all of that. That being said, there's some shit on display in his movie that is amazing artistry in filmmaking. Like, I mean, the stunt work that's going on, the costume work that's going on, the set design that's going on. I mean, the fucking the practical puppetry on this movie is amazing. And then to add to all of that, early ass CGI that is all over this movie that I don't think they ever got into CGI on the show, right?
No, it's all well. What you need to understand if you're going to talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie is the show Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and the
Well,
fact
and yeah, no, you go ahead. Yeah.
and the fact that it is basically Saban bought a bunch of Japanese footage of television programs and then sliced and diced it with stuff shot with like American actors, American teenage actors, and then just cobbled together a show. None of the stuff that you see in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers up until like the Thunderzord episode, like I think like that was the one that like, oh, now we're actually doing something. There's going to be some practical stuff. That's the first time that you see the Power Rangers in their suits with like the helmets off is when they introduced the Thunderzords. The reason why it took so long for that was because all of the like Power Ranger parts were completely from another show that was shot in Japan that was repurposed as American television because it was cheap as fuck to do that. Because you had these.
Toei was doing Super Sentai.
Yeah,
it was the big show that they pulled from, and that's where a lot of the like the costume lore, I will say, comes from. From that, they then have to design a bunch of stuff. Kind of once they reveal the kids under the mask and stuff, they have to try and like match what's going on. But to Devin's point, they would they would pull shit from wherever.
Yeah, like it is. It's not like they were shooting these huge action sequences. No, those were all basically stock footage that they bought for pennies on the dollar. So the only stuff that was like real, like creative work was the scenes with the kids, the teenagers. And that's also one of the reasons why I think the biggest complaint that I hear from people regarding Power Rangers is why does it take them so long to morph? Is because you know, like it's a little choreographed thing with like these kids still. We do not have enough footage of them as morphed Rangers to actually use. Like we have to dole it out
half
smallly.
An hour.
Yeah.
Also, at the end of the day, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was aimed at kids, right?
Yes,
like,
true.
maybe like 11-year-old kids, but still kids, right? So, like this idea that like there's still things like repetitive, like
it's
formula.
It is the most formula. Like,
right, yeah, but it's formulaic in the way that every kid's episode, like every episode of Bluey, follows the same arc, right? And things never get so out of hand that you get that worried and things like that. Like it is, there's in the show there is very much just this kind of sense of like, you know, this is aimed towards a younger audience than I think anybody was really like prepared in America. Because of, you know, this is one of the biggest like shows that banned shows by parents all over the country, right?
I mean, I remember when Power Rangers premiered, the original show premiered. Must have been like 92. I was in second grade. That is all that I know, is that I was in second grade and Power Rangers premiered. And I was the only one who knew Power Rangers as a second
Summer
grader.
93.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that tracks. But I was the only person, summer 93, yeah, that does make sense. But yeah, so that Halloween, I remember, so Halloween of 93, I was the only Power Ranger running around and like being a Power Ranger. And then Halloween of 94, everybody was fucking Power Rangers. In 94, I was Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. I was, he's on my desk. Servo was on my desk because I was a big fan of that show, right? Like I had moved from Power Rangers to Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad. But like that is one of the things that I remember was the whole like nobody knew Power Rangers, and then because nobody knew them, I was able to get all of the toys that Christmas. And then, like, by the next year, it was impossible to find anything from the Power Rangers.
Well, I mean, to what we're talking about today, the Power Rangers movie is 95.
Yes.
For a show that premiered in the summer of 93. So, like, didn't get even the entire year of 93. So, really, we're talking about 1 year. of this show being in the world, and it's already getting its own two theaters movie that ends up doing pretty financially okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because watching this movie as a 39-year-old,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, I loved this as a kid. As an adult, this one has not. You know what? I tell this story a lot, especially during Ninjativity. But that time that I went to go watch the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, and everybody intended to make fun of it, and like there was really nothing to make fun of. Like everybody thought this was going to be a fun movie to bag on, and then nobody. This is the movie you watch if you want to bag on a movie. And it's not
Yeah.
even that. It's not like it has a pretty solid script. It has a pretty formulaic kids movie script. We'll say that as well.
I appreciate the twist on like an origin story, but not like an origin story, right?
Yeah.
Like there's definitely character growth in this. They because they discovered the new powers, and they have to become this new kind of form of themselves, which then allowed the show to grow a little bit longer and all that. But like, so like it's not that there's not like an arc of any kind, but also they're established as the Power Rangers. There is no moment of them discovering like Zordon and all that shit. Like this, they already are the Power Rangers when this movie begins,
Right.
and like that's kind of a ballsy move in the '90s for a movie like this.
They also, I mean, as much as we've talked about the skydiving sequence, that whole skydiving sequence acts as an introduction to these characters.
Oh yeah, because the announcer says all of their names.
Yeah.
You also get to meet the two bozos, right?
Yeah, Bulk and Skull are the other two students who are skydiving, which can we also talk about the fact they end up jumping late, so they miss the drop zone, and they end up landing in a construction site, and the people at the construction site are like, what the fuck are you doing here? Not like, oh my god, are you okay? Guys who clearly did not mean to skydive into this construction site.
Oh, we all know that construction workers are the worst, though, right? Whistling at women and just being like, "Hey, get out of here!"
But I gotta say, for as much as Bulk and Skull are meant to be like the comedic relief and also like the sort of bullies in this 1995, they're the ones who are going to keggers, right? They're the jackasses of this particular universe.
They're the ones that are no. They're more importantly, they're the ones going into liquor stores and stealing like 40s.
Of course,
their fucking Janko jeans.
Sorry, I don't know why I did that. I know exactly why I did that, but I yeah. But then, like the lie that they tell the guy that they're building inspectors and they get away with it, like I understand why Jason Narvi and Paul Schreier, are those their names? Are those just in my head? Do I hate myself a little bit right now? Jason Narvi and Paul Schreier. Wow, good for me. I mean, I did just watch the movie, but like, those are not names that people just have ready to go. Like, they are still very connected to the Power Rangers community, and it doesn't feel like they're connected in that way that like I did this one thing when I was younger and it's all I am. They seem to like legitimately enjoy and embrace the community.
Well, I mean,
fans.
so yeah. Hey, look, the ways that cons like basically shaped the concepts of fandom, right?
Yeah.
Like throughout like the 90s and the 2000s, and like the ways in which you basically kind of hit this point. Star Trek is the most famous example of this, though, right? Like, and they were doing this even before the '90s. But like the ways in which you either tried to stay connected to the fan base through things like that, versus like the times when you found that these people were clearly just there under contract, and like that's when you get like the horror stories of Never Meet Your Heroes and shit.
Right.
Like that whole world is just so fascinating, and there's so many good like documentaries and television series and stuff about exactly that kind of shit, that it's really fascinating watching guys like Mark Hamill talk about like what it was like to go places, and like you either had to embrace being Luke Skywalker, and in some ways that just kind of made it easier to get through the day, or you could get really bitter about only being recognized for these things, and like and just you fucking want to shoot your brains out at some point, right? Because you're like, this is all you are just to these people. And like they clearly made a choice to really embrace it, and that's awesome. But there's a lot of reasons why people aren't able to always make that choice, you know. So like it's cool. I'm glad that they've been able to do that. But there are some people that have tried so hard to get out of like get away from that, and I don't blame them. Is I guess what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I fully understand it, and when I say that, like, I like that they've embraced that, because they're like the side characters. They're the ones you're supposed to laugh at. They're not the ones that you're supposed to love, and they're the type of people that, like, when you talk about these people in fandoms that like have it feel like a yoke around their neck, like they're kind of trapped by it. They seem like the type of people like that sort of role where you might begin to resent it. That like everybody kind of hates these characters and everything, but instead they've turned it into like, let's be these beloved idiots that like,
Yeah.
And
No, it's the Pete paradigm, man.
Yeah.
You know, like you serve as a as an antagonistic force, but never really a threat. Just like Pete in any Mickey Mouse cartoon, right? Like that guy is there, but you always know he's going to lose, right? And that's what these guys are. They are the guaranteed to lose. Whereas like the big bads, depending on the arc, you know, they might not necessarily lose this episode, but these guys are always going to lose,
Right.
which is again something really comfortable, something that as a kids show you can depend on the formula. This is going to happen, right?
And they're going to lose because of their own actions. They're not like defeated by anything other than themselves and the choices
Other
that
than
they
their own
make.
stupidity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something nice because at the end of the day, Power Rangers being a kid's show, there is that sort of, well, I learned something today. It's not right to cheat on my math test. And then meanwhile, Bulk and Skull are in the background. For some reason, they got to do dishes at Ernie's juice bar because they cheated on the math test.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
well, they say we can go once we clean 200 glasses. How many glasses is that? I don't know. like they still don't know math, and it's funny. I don't know. It's but yeah, we're supposed to be talking about the movie, but I think to understand the movie, this is something that's important. Also, 1995, we were really into extreme sports, huh? Like we talked about the skydive opening. And then what is up with the, like, we're going to rollerblade everywhere? This is a month before Hackers comes out. And I did not realize how much rollerblading happened in the media we were exposed to as children, CJ.
Well, so the thing is that skateboarding was something that hotheads and slackers did. Rollerblading was still a sport for kids to be kind of a menace with, but was also considered pretty athletic. So depending on what you were trying to depict in your teen character, if you wanted them to be rebellious, they would either skateboard and be like a pothead, or they would rollerblade, but also actually be like kind of badass, right? So like what we did is we established that the Power Rangers are athletic badasses, but they're still kind of rebels because they're rollerblading.
Right. It's like roller skating's dangerous older brother. It's
Right.
what rollerblading becomes. Which is weird because it would technically be roller skating's younger sibling.
But I mean, like we're talking about 95, right?
Yeah.
So really soon we're gonna have Brink, that's
Which-
gonna be like within like the next like 5 or 6 years, the Rocket Power TV show, right? I mean, the rise of the X Games and the Gravity Games and stuff. Like,
yeah.
people get into this kind of extreme sports stuff as like a metaphor in the 90s, right? For if you just want a quick shortcut to establish that these kids are disciplined enough to be athletic, but also at the same time, you know, just have their thumb up their nose to society and like, you know, authority and shit. Like you make them rollerbladers. That's what you do.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. And Dale, you know, this is Dale's first time watching this film cognizant, as she says it, because she was definitely there when we saw this movie in 95. This was the last big activity that I did in Massachusetts before officially moving to Rhode Island, was see A Kid in King Arthur's Court and Power Rangers the movie at the drive-in. And it was the first time viewing. What a fucking triple feature. Because Runaway Brain played before Kid in King Arthur's Court.
Right.
So, like, I have this memory in my mind of watching Runaway Brain, the like forbidden black sheep of the Mickey Mouse cartoons.
Yeah, right.
And then I do not remember Kid in King Arthur's Court because I had seen that one before. And then watching Power Rangers and being just stupid excited for Power Rangers. Because, you know, it was brand new and it was the things I loved and I had all the figures. And I was it for Halloween. But yeah. And that was so but Dale, first time watching it, as soon as there's like rollerblading, she's like, now it's just fucking Brink. This movie just turned into Brink. What is this film, Devin? I will also, while Dale is on like a topic that we're discussing, about 30 minutes into this film, she's like, how is it that people give shit to the 2017 Power Rangers movie when this is what existed before? And I gotta say, I kind of agree with her.
Well, because you have to. The answer to that question is within the question.
Yeah.
Because the 2017 Power Rangers is not this.
Right.
And this is what people, when you said Power Rangers, when you say it today even, this is what people think of. They think of the goofiness. They think of the idea that like half the time there's like dubbing going on over, over people because they need to make sure that they're not leaving in like weird plot lines that don't exist in this version.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Yeah, right. Like, so like there's all of this kind of like, it is in the making of this show that made it what we loved. And 2017, by making it well made, quote unquote, like, I'm just gonna like, there's no other real term I can think of at the moment, but like the effort that is put into world building and costumes and effects and all that is so advanced that it suddenly isn't Power Rangers anymore to a lot of people. I remember I love that movie. We've talked in the past. Like that movie was so much fun and so good. And I think campy in 2017 in a way this show was campy in 95. Right. And so like I think it was very goofy. It's just that comparatively, right, this is what people adored about this show. You know, part of the reason why kids everywhere started acting like Power Rangers and kicking each other in the face and stuff is because it was made in a way that made you feel like you could make it too.
Yeah. I mean, the whole beauty of Power Rangers is the idea that anyone can be a Power Ranger. Like, and they even put that into the movie with the whole Fred Kelman character. Fred Kelman, the Silver Ranger. Fred Kelman, the Gold Ranger. Fred Kelman, never seen again because he probably fucking killed himself. Not to rip off Zach Morris's trash, but like, it is weird that they introduced this kid who was then never seen again. Like, sorry, just to be that guy. And it's like, jeez, I don't know. But you're right. It is the campiness of this. And if we're going to talk camp and just over the top, we have to talk about Paul Freeman as Ivan Ooze.
Oh my God. Because Ivan Ooze and like so into the character that you can't even say that it's just the costume work because he then ends up in other costumes in this movie and is still just fucking eating up scenery. Like when he's playing the commercial Ooze version of himself, it is some of the best work from him in the movie, and it's some of the least like face prosthetics that he has on.
Yeah, he just looks like a Channel 64 wizard.
Mm-hmm.
But
then even like the CGI face like capture stuff that they need to do with him in order to do like all I kept thinking was fucking Lawnmower Man. Like
that's what all the CGI looks like. Lawnmower Man. This
scares me in ways that like Lawnmower Man and certain dark episodes of Reboot used to. You know what it is? I want to talk about the because this is the Say Report now, and I get to do tangents. I'm gonna do this. I would like to talk about the Christmas movie, Beauty and the Beast: Enchanted Christmas, and the fact that I did not remember because we watched it this year for the Christmas season.
Bastard.
I did not remember that the Tim Curry Oregon character Maestro was so CGI heavy. Yep. I had like Mandela affected myself into this like animated version, like hand-drawn animated version of him. And when he showed up CGI, I legitimately started like searching around the internet being like, did they remake this? Did they like clean it up when they like re-released it or some shit? Because I remember him being hand drawn. But it is some of the chunkiest, like clunkiest CGI ever. And it was like watching it and like it hurt my brain to watch that, right? With that same like idea, like I don't know, we got really into like the like CGI baddie thing, right? And like all of the weird morphing effects on Ivan Ooze and then making him big in space. Plus the two Megazord things that he calls up with like those are like all CGI.
Those are terrible. They are the worst part of this movie because they just look.
Yeah, because you want it to be guys in costumes, right?
Yeah, you don't want it to be. Like, also, like on that same line, I don't like the Ninja Zords because they're all CGI. Like,
Yeah.
for this movie where you're talking about, there are some wonderful practical effects. When you say that, I have to imagine the Oozlings and the Tengu Warriors are things that jump to mind, specifically the Tengu Warriors with like.
Well, okay, so yeah, I will. There was moments of this movie where I was like, "This is on par, like as far as what like the effects on screen go, with something like fucking Labyrinth uh
The Dark
was the other one I
Crystal?
was thinking of. No, Dark Crystal definitely, but there Return to Oz, the really
Okay, yep.
weird Wizard of
Yeah,
Oz
fuck
sequel,
that
right?
movie. Not
Um
in the bad way, just in like a fuck that movie. like, woo!
um but there's this level of artistry on display in the costume work, but the other thing is in the set work. So like every time they're doing the interiors of the factory with Ooze and his two buddies there, Goldar and what's his nuts,
Mordaunt
pig,
made up for the
Mordaunt.
movie. Mordant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, made up for the movie because he was in some fucking scenes from what, but
Never.
anyway,
He only exists in the film. You know what the worst part
nice.
about this is? I'm going to say 36 minutes into this episode, and please hold me to it. I want to seek out a novelization of this because Mordaunt, according to early scripts and the novelization, is Goldar's second cousin who is visiting for the summer. And that is the reason why he is hanging out.
No, the reason he's hanging out is that they wanted a Bebop and Rocksteady like that. Like they wanted their what were the two in the Secret of the Ooze there.
Token Razar.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's what they wanted, right? They wanted their comedic duo monster buddies because that shit sells toys.
Well, and
Like
you say
like
that, and it's weird because you already have Squat and Babu, who are those characters. Like Squat and Babu, and you have Finster. Like, it wasn't as if Rita Repulsa and Lord Zed were not surrounded by henchmen all the time. So, like, to use Goldar, who's Rita's first monster in the original series, who then becomes like, yeah, he's here all the time for some fucking reason. And then we're going to use Goldar, and it's not even like the same Goldar. He's like cutified. He's almost like,
Yeah.
I don't know what, I don't want to go
He's
as
like
far,
chibi.
he's not chibi, like, but he's like kind of chibi-fied. Like, his face is not as terrifying. Goldar, at his core, is a flying monkey. Like, that's it. What if the Wicked Witch of the West took one of the flying monkeys and put them in a golden, like, armor? That's Goldar. And I love it.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. But then to invent this pig character, Mordant, who, like, they say his name one time. And I thought,
Yeah.
and we were, like, trying to say, what did they say his name was? Just Gordon? I was calling him the homonym Hog for a while because all of his puns were homonyms. Oh, I got a week back. I said a week back. like, oh, I get it. He means weak like inferior and weak like 7 days. This guy's hilarious.
Man. Yeah, no, man. I wonder how much of it though had to do with things like the rights tied up in
Yeah.
those characters existing in Super Sentai and stuff, and the reason that they had those characters is because of the ways in which they played into the bigger fight scenes and stuff. Like, I don't know what belonged to who, But between the idea that, I mean, bringing in a new character so that you get your toy sales in there, like I can totally see like that. Like no, so everybody might have a Goldar already. Everybody probably has a Rita Repulsa, right? But who has a Morden? Nobody has a Morden yet. So this is a guaranteed sell, right? Like,
and he definitely had a figure. I wasn't sure if he had a figure, but here he is. Look to the supplemental material. I'm sending Siege an inbox image of him right now. I do not want that toy. I would be sad if I got that toy. I would just be honest. Like, because they did pigs before, right? Like, they did Pudgy Pig, the one that turned people into food and ate them.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's terrifying. But yeah, you're right. Yeah. But they also do, like, in terms of new toys, the toyetics of this movie is insane. Because you have Ivan, you have the Oozlings, and you could definitely do, like, 2 packs of those. Because each Oozling is unique. And then you have the Tengu warriors, and they are not all unique, but they are, like, there ain't no putty patrollers in this fucking movie. So, like, you have those 3 right there, and then you have Mordant, who is given, like, no character development or anything. Like, because one of the other things is that for kids to want a toy, they gotta want the toy, they gotta want the character. That character needs to add something, and he does not do it. And now I'm actually wondering if in, like, the toy arithmetic that the companies are doing, they're like, well, we have to have the booster character. Not to go all jingle all the way, but I did finally see that film from start to finish this Christmas season. And,
really?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that
No,
later.
we'll talk about that one once it's, like, relevant, maybe, like, a couple of years from now. But like, there needs to be that character who's not going to sell as well as everything else, so that there's stuff on the shelves. Like, I think about Bob from the 1989 Batman movie. And the fact that the only villain I have from that movie is Bob Friendly. And it's like, because that was the only figure you could find on the shelf for a time there. It was hard to find a Batman. But Bob Friendly, he was clogging the shelves.
Well, yeah, and there is something to that logic because of the idea that we've talked about before about the shelf space being at a premium for vendors and wanting to maintain that shelf space. And it's kind of hard for you to keep fighting for that shelf space if you don't have something taking up that space, right? So, like, it kind of just guarantees that you're saving your spot for when the next toy comes out to you in all of these stores.
Which now what we're seeing as a problem and how that's grown in the 30 years is that everything is just staying on the shelves now. Like, they don't really seem to do the, like, Mordants or the Bob Friendly figures. So then once everybody has an Optimus Prime and a Bumblebee, like, I think about, I do not remember what the line was called. Zach Dyer of This Toy Makes Me Happy is going to get so mad at me because I have 2 figures from that line that he does not. And the reason he doesn't have them is because, like, the Walmarts and the Targets in the area had just straight stopped ordering stock because their shelves were full. What?
Transformers lines?
Yeah, so it's a Transformer line. I can't remember anything about them right now. They're the Duo Changers, maybe? They're based on the toys that when you were younger, they had, like, the pullback motors, and you pull back motors, and then as they rolled forward, they would transform. And one of them's like a drill tank, and one of them's like a jet. And
did they have to run into something to transform, or did they just transform on their own?
That was certainly one of the methods that pullback transformers worked. There were ones that transformed on their own because, like, the pullback motor would trigger, like, a little bit of plastic that would come down. And when that hit the ground, it would make it pop up and transform. And that's what these two, Twin Twist. One of them is named Twin Twist. Let Let me, woo!
Because I definitely had. They might not have been actual Transformers. They could definitely have been knockoffs because that was very big in my family was to buy the we've got this at home brand. The and what you would need to do is it would need to hit like a wall or your hand or something. So and when it hit, the impact would basically pop the Transformer out.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those ones as well. So the line was Titans Return, Topspin, and Twin Twist are the names of these two figures. Zach, you can still be mad at me because I did not remember them. And I mean, it might, at this point, it's probably just a joke in our friendship, but he always acts as if he covets those because at the time, he would only buy figures that he found on the shelf, and he never saw a Twin Twist or a Topspin. And the reason was Transformers, like they were wave 5 of the Titans Return line. So, and they were not selling past like wave 3. Like wave 3 just like stopped sales. So why would we order more figures that are just not going to sell? Is what, like you say, like shelf space is a premium. We already have them on the shelf. We're not going to order new waves because the waves we have are not selling.
Yeah.
That also ties into Power Rangers in a weird way, which is what we're supposed to be talking about, but it's also the Slay Report, as Sejan mentioned, so we can do tangents. Oh my god, I do not remember the name of this show, but I loved it. Ninja Fury. That's not Ninja Fury. I liked Ninja Fury as well. It was the one where like they were sort of like legacy. Like part of their morphing is that they could morph into any Power Rangers that came before. And then like their standards where they looked like pirates. Let me look at Power Rangers Pirates.
Nice.
Yeah, so Kaizo Sengoku, what the frick is it called? What did you get turned into in America? That's what I need to know. I need to know what you became in America. Do you guys like really just not do that? But yeah, so that whole thing, I really liked those figures, and they introduced a new villain with the pirates, and I ended up finding that at a CVS of all places. Because CVS, they're like ordering just like random stuff to throw in that toy aisle. Whereas whereas Walmart
like
was exactly the Walgreens effect. So they were just going to order this stuff, and I remember finding like a bunch of figures that I had wanted, mostly like Putty Patrol style, like Mooks and things like that. And I found them there, and I'm like, oh, I thought I was never going to find these. And I remember like talking to Zach again. Zach, pretty much my toy connection. Let's just be honest with that. Not that I'm not a toy guy myself, but Zach and I, we can like nerd out for hours. And he's like, yeah, like that's where you're going to find things like that because they're not buying so much that when they stop selling, they're not going to move the stuff. I mean, we're seeing that at Target with the collector spots, right? Like it's all Funko and it doesn't move. So Target is like, yeah, we're done with you, Funko. And that's why Funko is no longer a company. Ditto NECA. But we don't need to talk about that. Let's talk about Power Rangers. Power Rangers are fun and cool. And
yeah.
God, I love this movie. Here's the thing. I say I love this movie, and I love that this movie exists. But watching it again, this was a rough movie. I think the CGI is not as charming as the practical effects. I thought Dulcia was a bigger part of it. I thought all the stuff on Phaedos was like bigger and badder. But like for it being the great hero's journey to acquire their powers, they fight the Tengu Warriors, and they don't even win against the Tengu Warriors. Dulcia comes in and scares them away with her magic swinging sticks that whistle. Yeah. And then they're given new powers. They become the Ninjeti. And then they fight the Bone Triceratops and the 4 Stone Warriors. Like, what did they do to earn the power from the monolith? Really not a lot. But as a kid, I'm like, oh, such a journey.
So, well, no, like, I mean, they're given the new powers when they go to basically Zordon's home planet, essentially. But like, they go to the
he's
place
from
where
Eltar.
Their powers originate from.
They make sure that we know that he's Zordon of Eltar. Phaedos is just like to use something that you and I both have very intimate knowledge of. It's essentially a vault planet from Borderlands.
Yeah. It's a war planet where like this is where we go to fight our battles so that
Yeah.
we don't fuck up our own planets.
Yeah. And we
And
store
so like
things here. Like Victor
yeah,
go the spoils in the monolith would be like you'd have to find the vault key to open it up, and oh shit, it's 4 stone guys. And then the treasure that was the friends we made along the way. Fucking Borderlands.
no, but I do think that there's this idea like yes, it's definitely like on high speed, right? Like they are like ripping through these things. In a perfect world, this movie would be 2 hours long, instead of just an hour and a half, But like there's this they're given these new abilities because again, as I said before, this isn't really an origin story for them.
Right.
So we already understand that they already have pretty baller abilities and talents. So then they go to this planet and they're given even stronger abilities. And then on top of that, they then have to, if they really want to use those abilities to the best of their ability, they need to prove themselves. And so they go on a fucking boss battle fight, which is pretty awesome. So there's a really nice like sequence of events to it. It's so simplistic that it feels like there's no connective tissue sometimes.
Well, and I think one of the big reasons it feels like there's no connective tissue is they're not on Earth. It's not like they're fighting or they're not racing or anything. Like, stuff is going on Earth. Pretty heavy duty stuff is happening on Earth while they're on
Yeah,
Phaedos.
it's a good thing it takes those parents 4 days to march to the pit. Right
to march back to
fucking
the pit that's across the
site.
street. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, when he's like, go back to the construction street and jump to your death, I'm like, oh wow, those guys are gonna die, right? There ain't no way that they're stopping this. Yeah, like that's a real thing. Like I don't know. It does. It
But
feels very disconnected. Would
but
be my biggest complaint about that. Yeah.
But I think some of the like the practical effects stuff, man, like when they're in those scenes when they're in the warehouse, right, or the chemical facility, and there's this moment where they're showing all of the walls around it, and you can kind of tell that they're paintings, right? Especially when they're on the other planet, you can tell that everything's a painting that they're looking at. But they're gorgeous. They're gorgeous old school watercolor like Sykes and all that sort of shit. And so like it's really good. It's good stuff. And then there's this moment where all of a sudden steam starts coming out, and because the clouds then start to kind of puff around the physical objects in the space, more of it is a physical object than I realized. like once the steam came out and kind of like put things into perspective for like I almost kind of wonder if that was part of like the effect point, right? Is to be like showing the steam going up just to kind of show off like how elaborate the set actually was. It was more set than painting, I realized. And so like, stuff like that was just like charming, and like the Wishmaster style fucking costuming on Ivan Ooze is fucking baller. I mean, Morden, for all the bullshit about it, why he exists as a character, is an awesome like costume. Like I kind of adore like that costume alone.
Well, it's like why I wanted there to be more. Like that moment where we heard his name that one time, and Dale's like, I think it's like Borden. Like Gordon, but he's a pig, so he's Borden. And I'm like, yeah, Borden Hamsies. Now, Gordon Ramsay's was not something that was known, so they wouldn't name a character like that. But like, we built this whole backstory for this figure that made him more fun. And again, like, I guess toy-wise, you're the kid who winds up with Morden on Christmas morning. You're gonna talk about like, no, I'm a good guy now because I defected after Ivan Ooze was mean to me. Like, I see that.
And there's
stuff.
Nothing else in the lore to contradict.
It, right? Like, he doesn't murder anybody. He basically just turns on machines. Yeah, and I do. You know what? Thinking about it, it probably has to do with the fact that they very clearly had practical outfits for Rita and Zed and Goldar. My guess is that Babu, Squat, and Finster only existed in footage. So it was build costumes for those guys, or because like Mordant looks like a bunch of other pre-existing sort of characters. So it wouldn't be completely out of them. Like, we're just going to repurpose like outfits that we have to build this character.
Yeah, actually, you asked earlier how this did, and financially, I mean, this movie ends up making almost $70 million,
Holy
and
shit.
it sure doesn't look like it cost $70 million to make.
That's, well, now I gotta look it up. While I look it up, let's talk about the fact that Dr. Renee Belloc, Paul Freeman is who plays Ivan Ooze. And
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, Belloc is one of my favorite characters from like just cinema. I love him as a foil to Indiana Jones. And, you know, being the guy unearthed from a hyperlock chamber. First of all, we need to stop opening fucking chambers that we find in the ground. You live in Angel Grove. You deal with an alien threat weekly, if not daily. Don't fucking open that thing. Call the Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Don't be like, let's get a crane, guys.
Again, like, man, all the love to our mothers for putting up with this shit, because I can only imagine my mother, who never watched the show, who had no interest or thoughts about what was going on, watching this movie and just the actions of people like that. Because, like, to me, having basically a sewer cap on top of like an ultimate evil is just another fucking day in Angel Grove. Like I as far as I'm concerned, like this is just in line with everything else that goes on in this town. And there's in the end the people being stupid enough to open it up and all of it. All of this makes total sense to me. But if you're watching this and this is like your first kind of introduction to like this world, and the fact that like it's not like they don't call it like the government when they find like hey, there's like a gas grate here that shouldn't fucking be here or something like
well, it's sure not DWP. Yeah, but we should probably call it in, right? We don't know what this is. This could be an unexploded bomb for all we know. Estimated to have a $20 million budget. Opening weekend, it makes $13 million. And then ends up grossing in the U.S. and Canada 38 million, 38.1. Yeah. So yeah, there's a reason why Turbo happens.
Mm-hmm. Well, and subsequently every other version, right? Because like every few years they just kind of upgrade. Like now they're all dinosaurs, or this time they're all mummies or some shit. Like they go. They go kind of crazy with like
don't make me want fucking mummies, the mummy Power Rangers. I like
their powers from ancient Egypt.
I liked that Zeo, their Zords were just like fucking mech parts. Like the pink and yellow Ranger, they just drove around in tanks shaped like legs. I didn't like Zeo. Zeo's where I fell off from Power Rangers. But where I came back was Dino Thunder. This movie was weird to watch for a couple of reasons. A, because, you know, Jason David Frank, rest in peace, right? Jason David Frank is dead. Jason David Frank was also very connected to the Power Rangers franchise in that in the 10th iteration of the Power Rangers, and that might not be it, but like it was sort of like the 10-year anniversary, and they kind of talk about how every year they've introduced a new iteration of Power Rangers, so it might be off. But Power Rangers Dino Thunder, Tommy Oliver comes back as an adult, and he's like got his doctorate in paleontology. So, like, I'm watching this movie where he's still in high school, and I'm like, you're going to be a paleontologist someday. Like, that's your future. It's weird to know your future. And then, on top of that, there is the fact that Jason David Frank once taught me karate. Like, not to bury that lead until almost the hour mark of this episode, but, you know, I mean, I took karate. Not because of Power Rangers, not because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but because we had like a club night at the school. Like, I don't know what to call it. Cause like, you know how they have those things where like join a club? It was that, but it was for like outside of the school activities. So like kind of like community building or something like that. Regardless, there was a karate demonstration at that. And I'm like, yeah, this seems like something I want to do. I could use some discipline in my life. If you're an individual that I have ever referred to as sir or ma'am, is because of my karate training. Like, I straight up know that. I understand that. I can actually, I have the belts in the studio. I'm going to just talk about like studio design. The belts are tied along a pole in the studio. It was a big part of my life. The only reason I stopped doing it is because I broke my ankle, right? Like it killed my hockey career and it kind of killed my martial arts career. I'm going to be honest about it. But through that school, they had arranged for like special lessons to be taught by Jason David Frank. And like the lessons were free, but if you wanted like a picture or an autograph, those cost money. So I'm just like, I'm just going to learn from him. Like that's enough for me to say that the Green Ranger taught me karate one day. But like, it's also weird to be like, this is a person in this movie that like I've spent like real time with. Now he's not just someone up on the screen. Like just weirdly approachable to me in this way that it never was before. Because I got to tell you, the last time I watched these movies is that night that we bought them both on DVD. So it's been like 20 years.
Sorry. Yeah, like, yeah, I'm just going down the fucking rabbit hole
Go
here
for it.
On the beginning of this, like this show and this being like brought in to America and like the idea that this was, I guess there was a Japanese show that was really popular in Japan, in France. And so people were like, man, the success of like this Japanese show outside of Japan, like we should try and hit the American market. Like what can we do with that? And the person that they end up getting in touch with is this person at Fox Kids called Margaret Loesch, it looks like is her name.
Okay.
And she is part of the team that like tied Fox Kids to Marvel and got like X-Men and shit and Spider-Man and all that on Fox Kids. So like this person shaped so much of our childhood.
Yeah, sounds like it. I mean, Fox Kids was such a big part. Like that was the cool one to watch. Speaking of Jingle All the Way, like the Tick shows up in the Wintertainment Parade in that. The Tick. The fact that the Tick became a character that people knew through that cartoon, the fact that the Tick got a cartoon show is just crazy. Yeah. And as somebody who sat and had conversations with Ben Englund, to the fact that like he knew me so much that whenever he saw me at conventions, he would draw more and more like upset to see me Tick heads with like you again as what he was saying. Like I just kept running into him at comic conventions. And I'd be like, yeah, I'll get a Tick head from you. Like, it's fun. And he like had a continuity. Like that's cool to me. I don't know. I'm sorry. I gush in these episodes. These are the episodes where I allow myself to be the most nostalgic.
In Jingle All the Way, what is the superhero's name?
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man. Okay.
Yeah.
Because they had an Action Man show, and I was like, wait a minute, is that the... No.
Okay. Originally, his name was Turbo Tom, but they thought that Turbo Man sounded cooler. I can't wait till we talk about Jingle All the Way. But Fox...
Like the way that they got a hold of all this stuff. And so, like, bringing it then to like, the movie, and, like, within a year, like, pushing this movie out to people, like, they were just riding on the success of this thing. And it's not like this was the only thing that they had that was successful. Like they had show after show after show. I mean, Fox Kids is the one that ends up having Goosebumps at some point. They end up having like they had Big Wolf on Campus, didn't they?
Big Wolf on Campus was Family, Fox Family. It was never on Fox Kids.
That's right. That's what that one was.
But we were supposed to like grow into Fox Family. I joke a lot about the Three Friends and Jerry. One of my favorite things that you were ever a part of was the Three Friends and Siegen. When you were on an episode of Two Friends and a Couch as the guest, that we made a Three Friends and Jerry reference. Like, Fox Family was meant for, like, teenage audiences, which is where you got things like Big Wolf on Campus. But we're talking about animated things that Fox Kids did. Let's talk about the whole slew of recycled Japan footage. I mentioned Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, but you also have VR Rangers. You have the Beetleborgs, Big Bad Beetleborgs, Masked Rider from Kamen Rider. like stuff. Like they became a factory for doing it, right down to the fact that, do you remember this show that was on Fox Kids Saturday mornings? I don't know if it was a series or if it was just like a special they did. It was overdubbed chimpanzees. And then they did a whole episode on basically how episodes of shows like Power Rangers and those were made. So it was chimpanzees overdubbed, a la something like MXPX. Is that the name of that game? No, MXPX is a band. MXC. So like a la MXC, you have these chimpanzees who are hanging out in their treehouse being overdubbed. And then they're like, oh yeah, like this is the way they do us is how they did all those shows on like Fox from before. Like, let's do one of our own. And what I remember is Billy, for his Triceratops, they made him say grape lollipop. And that's just like in my head. And I don't know what this show was, but it was one of those things that like first brought to my attention how much of the shows that I watched pretty much in like my tween years were
you talking about the Chimp Channel, the thing where they used to overdub like all sorts of like monkey movie, like they would. So there was interstitials on TBS with talking monkeys, and then what they did is they rolled that into a TV show where what they did was do like Die Hard but with monkeys, and so they would overdub the monkeys doing like Die Hard previews, and they would do like a whole bunch of those, or they would sometimes do TV shows and things like that. Is that what you're talking about?
This was like, so I remember that type of stuff that existed, but it was a series on Fox. Like I don't know.
Again. No, man. I mean, I'm starting to think back to the 70s where we start talking about like Lancelot Link and shit. So like, I don't know, man.
Oh, the show was called It's a Pilot. I found it. Holy shit. Chimp Lips Theater.
Chimp Lips Theater.
Saban's Chimp Lips Theater. Baked Alaska. Teriyaki. Grape lollipop. Soft shell crab. Chili dog. Oh my God. Wow, I have just opened up a memory for me.
This is what this movie does, right? as dumb as this movie is, this is exactly what this movie does for us, right? And why it holds this special place in my heart is because like now we end up in this place where we're just giggling and laughing at this shit that we saw when we were 6, 7 years old, you know, and like
6, 7. You did it. You did it on purpose. I was 11.
I gotta get those out of my vocabulary is what has to happen. But this idea that like, you know, like the Power Rangers movie is not a great movie, but man, do I love talking about it. Man, do I love talking about that whole era of my life because, you know, I was a kid. I was happy.
Oh, don't do that. I mean, I get it. You very much. Jeez, I found the whole Chimp Lips Theater pilot as going in supplemental materials for the people. I gotta be honest with you, because it's real, and it was just a pilot, and I apparently like that's such a weird thing from this whole time where like the Power Rangers movie happened is the fact that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is the movie. Proper title. I don't want to get screwed out in like the Leonard Maltin game. It's National Lampoon's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. But like all of those things that were like made as pilots, but we got to see them. I mean, there's such a big, it's an undercurrent in this show, right? In the Say Report. But like, there is nothing more fun than sitting down with you to discuss a pilot for a show that never happened. And something like Chimp Lips Theater, that's what that is. Or the Battletoads pilot. Or the Bubsy pilot. Like these pilots that like, oh, we'll just hold them all together and then some weekend we'll show them all. And if you saw them, right, and you were the only kid who happened to see them for some reason, people thought you were crazy. Nobody believed me about the Battletoads pilot for the longest time.
Who used to have the Alf TV show? That one was actually a full like.
That was a full-on show. I don't know who did Alf. I imagine ABC. Like that would make sense
probably
to
ABC,
me
because I think that's where
I think that's where Alf was anyway. Let's look at Alf the Animated Series. It's NBC.
NBC.
For 26 episodes.
Yeah,
which,
actually a full series.
Yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed Alf the Animated Series. It was weird seeing him on Melmac going by Gordon.
I'm trying to think of because when I think of like the piloty stuff that was really wild back then, is Fox also had kind of their own version of cartoon or whatever it was that Cartoon Network had, where they would kind of pilot out like shows like Cow and Chicken, I think, that started there, and Billy and Mandy might have as well. I know Dexter's Lab.
We're talking about cartoons, right? Not Fox's.
Yes.
Yeah. Cartoons.
So
Powerpuff Girls had two.
Fox had their own version of that called What a Cartoon, right?
The What a Cartoon show, I think was Nickelodeon. Because I liked What a Cartoon as well.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's where I think about really seeing them for the first time, or in shows like that, and then they would get picked up later. I mean, like Wild Stuff supposedly started there. I think like Family Guy. Like if you go like really deep into
Larry and Steve, man.
Lore,
Larry and
Steve was on there. Yeah.
So What a Cartoon Show was the Hanna-Barbera show. Actually, so it started as What a Cartoon, then became the What a Cartoon, and then just became the Cartoon Show. So those are all the same sort of...
It was all the same show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's where... I mean, Space Ghost Coast to Coast started from that. I have a whole list of things that came from that. Megas XLR. God, we got to do a Megas XLR episode eventually. God, that show's so fucking good. But yeah, like that, they would just be like 3 offshoot things. Yeah, that was all that. Nickelodeon had one too. What was Nickelodeon's one? It was, I don't remember. But that's like where Chalk Zone came from. Kablam
they had
was
like
kind of like
Kablam.
that. Yeah. But then they also had another one.
Yeah.
Chalk Zone original show. Pilot on Oh Yeah Cartoons.
Oh Yeah Cartoons, right.
Yeah. Which was also Fred Siebert, who was also behind the other one, but that was for Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon's was Oh Yeah Cartoons. Jesus.
But like this was an era
Memories
where people
unlocked.
were putting this shit in front of people,
Yeah.
and just seeing what stuck, right? And like I remember there was some Courage the Cowardly Dog. Holy shit. Oh boy, Courage the Cowardly Dog, I think, was maybe one of those as well. Yep. And so like you had ones that stuck, right? But then you also had ones that were really fun and really cool, but didn't really seem to go anywhere. Like Mina and the Count, I remember being a really early one that everybody was like really latched onto. Like there, I don't know, man. I miss that kind of thing, and I think people kind of take for granted that when Netflix does something, they do give it like a full series. They don't just make a pilot and show it to you, right? The amount of people that feel really jaded because a show comes out and then it doesn't get renewed. Like, we straight up got pilots that didn't become series when I was a kid.
We got pilots that didn't become series, but then were still broadcast as quote unquote TV movies. Like that was a whole... Like, what I'm talking about, like, the Battletoads. Like, that, I saw that was on Thanksgiving. And I remember watching and being like, oh, this is going to be an awesome show. And that show just never happened. But then you also got to think about things like, I mean, like, Darkman, the sequels to Darkman are what jumps to mind. But, like, think about that level of TV movie that is Darkman 2 and Darkman 3, Die, Darkman, Die. Like, that was a thing that they did as, like, pilot episodes that they would not pick up the show. Generation X. Do you remember the Generation X movie with like skin and shit like that? Like that was meant to be a pilot for Fox to do a like hour-long X-Men series. And it went nowhere. The Nick Fury one with what's his name is Nick Fury, Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
But we even talked about stuff like the fucking like Archie show, right? Like Welcome to Riverdale or whatever it was that we did.
Yeah, welcome
to Riverdale.
From Return to Riverdale and back again to Riverdale. That was a good episode. It was fun. But yeah, Return to Riverdale. Like, yeah, if that had hit as a TV movie, they were willing to. There used to be a big part of when we were growing up was that they would basically do these TV movies that functionally were pilots for shows. And a lot of the time they were failed pilots for shows.
I mean, we've talked about some of our favorites before when we've talked about the Disney ones, right? Like the Disney Adventure, like the Disney Saturday Morning ones, the Tailspin pilot, the Darkwing pilot,
DuckTales. DuckTales the movie. Which one?
DuckTales, Goof Troop.
Goof Troop has a 5 episode like pilot episode as well. Those are weird though, because it's like they're supposed to be these interconnected things, but they were very rarely shown in their entirety. Right? Yeah. Like Tailspin, not only does Tailspin have like that 4 episodes that set up the world of Tailspin, they wrote songs and stuff for that. Like Tailspin was meant to be a full-on movie. Because like Friends for Life, Put a Monkey in Your Tank, Home is Where the Heart Is. Like those all exist as recorded by the Disney Afternoon Orchestra, but they were never animated. But they're like, yeah, we wrote these songs that are going to go into the movies. And it never happened as a movie. So there's just these weird, like, it's this interesting thing. And I don't know if it's specifically like our generation, but I think it's our generation who has the access to it. Because we have things like lost media now, right? People care about lost media. But in the 90s, there was such a fervor for like entertainment that companies were willing to release what would be considered lost media today. And then it becomes lost media in the future, right? Like, but that one time that the Battletoads pilot shared, the Deke pilot for a Battletoads television series, or that the Bubsy pilot episode, which I thank God every day that did not become a show. Because that was like, Bubsy is annoying to begin with. Dear God, was Bubsy in the Bubsy cartoon show annoying. like oh my God, like just hard to handle.
And then I think about the ways in which like stuff like this really kind of then begot like the streaming stuff that we have today, because you have these shows where these pilots would be one-offs and like kids would really like them, or people, you know, adults would get really into them. And then what would happen is that somebody was recording it. Somewhere along the line, somebody had their VCR set to record because they knew this kind of shit would come up, and so they would record it all the time, right? And then what they would do is they would cut that stuff into a number of other tapes, and then that shit would get sold at like flea markets and stuff, and you ended up with this whole like black market of like lost episodes of shows and pilots of things and stuff, and like all of that led to the inevitability of stuff like LimeWire and Napster to be sharing all sorts of weird shit that way, and then eventually you have people just doing things like Hulu and now YouTube, and then all of a sudden Netflix is created, and like all of this is because people always wanted to be able to get a hold of this, like this shit. People want to look back on these silly one-off things, and the fact that we don't really do that anymore, I think has made people so hungry for that.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of just like someone who should be celebrated for that, Marion Marguerite Stokes is the woman who basically recorded everything 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right. Like a lot of the stuff that we have is because of her archives.
Yeah.
Like she just recorded everything. She collected newspapers and things like that. Some people would call her a hoarder. I call her an archivist, because there are things that would be lost if not for the work that she did.
Well, like, and I don't know too much about her, but from my understanding, it was also very well organized and categorized. Like, it wasn't like, here's just a pile of receipts, figure out what I spent, right? Like, it was searchable media that she was. So I take issue with the idea of calling her a hoarder as well, because like traditionally in those situations there's no rhyme nor reason to the mess,
right? But I'm sure that like before her passing in 2012, I'm sure that people looked at that like, look at that woman hoarding all those newspapers, and then you actually go in there and you're like, oh wait, no, this is like all of the newspapers that were released in the year 2011 are right in front of us.
These were all of the newspapers released around 9/11 or something.
Yeah,
right?
Like it was an important part of human history, even though it's pop culture. What she did was a huge service, because like things that we talk about, it's just a fact. We're talking about Power Rangers the movie, right? We're talking about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. Is there anything else you want to make sure that we talk about that movie? Like maybe the Ninjeti powers and their new form.
Yeah, so like
It
the
is
other thing
Ninjativity
is
after all.
I mean, we're talking about like the toyetics of this movie again. Like, we also then have a reason for you to rebuy your favorite Power Ranger because he has a new costume or she has a new costume, right? And like, there's that whole element to it where you can get the ninja forms now of your favorite characters.
Not only that, they have the BMX power suits. Those suits are awful. I have to just objectively, the suits in this movie just look terrible because it's so much like BMX like uniforms that have been like color coded, and the morphers are different. Like all of the changes are made in pursuit of the Mighty Dollar via toy sales, like without a doubt. Because Power Rangers was one of those flash in the pan. It was one of those things where like my mother was buying stuff hoping to flip it someday. Like it's just one of those things. And then when the market bottomed out,
this movie is so in tuned with the kids market, toy market, that it fucking foresaw the 2010 slime craze. Like I can't believe, like, I was watching this movie and for the first time since slime really did kind of kick off for a while as like the thing to do, especially I guess during COVID, so maybe the late 2010s 2020s when like kids were at home and they didn't know what else to do, but like sitting around and making your own slime became like a huge thing for a while. And like this movie, like selling slime to people was just fucking golden. I was like, oh my god, like this feels a little too on the nose for a movie that was made 15 years before the before the craze.
All right. So in the studio, I have some old like fruit crates that I have repurposed into shelves. They're like right bumped into the ceiling, like the slats of the ceiling. And that's sort bohemian. Of what's that?
It's very bohemian. Is it right next to your exposed brick as well?
Oh, it is, yeah, actually. And I can see it from where I record. And up there, I have a bunch of collectible items. I have the Jumanji board game. The wooden Jumanji board game is up there. I have 2 boxes of
stellar, man.
2 boxes of Fruit Brute cereal. A Monster Mash box of cereal where they put all of the monsters together into one box of cereal for monster cereals. I have a Mega Man cereal. I have the Crystal Sword in box from the Land of the Lost show from the 1990s. I have a stolen menu from a pop culture restaurant in England that Will took me to. But the reason I'm talking about this, right, is that I have a box of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2012 ooze. And the first ooze, and I'm just noticing this now, because they originally did it in that like pearlescent blue with glitter in it. That is what the ooze looks like in it. But then the reason I have this box, and it is like the box that they sell in the store, because I like went to Toys R Us and they had the box and it had one of all the colors of the ooze. And I'm like, can I just get the box with this? And they let me do it because they didn't care back then. Nowadays, they'd be like, no, we're going to send it back to Playmates and they're going to charge us $5,000. They let me take it. The first ooze, and it is called ooze, is Ivan Ooze purple color. And like, I've looked at this thing. It's one of the things that like my vision drifts to while I'm recording. And like, you're talking about slime, and I'm like, I have purple slime in the studio with me right now. Like, I mean, slime was kind of a big deal at the time in this too. That Ivan Ooze slime that brainwashes the parents and maybe the children. I'm not sure. I really need to read the novelization of this movie. It is Gak. It is Nickelodeon.
Yeah, we lived we lived in the time of Gak, man. Yeah, and eventually like foamy, right? Like the like foam slime that you could get and stuff.
Floam. Remember Floam?
Foam,
It'll
that's what,
harden. Yeah.
and you know, and even just at any ticket counter, you could get fart putty, right?
Yep.
Where it was basically just slime in a thing, and they happened to be able to sell you slime two ways. Play with the slime, and then also get this one because it's labeled fart putty, even though it's the same fucking thing, just relabeled.
Yep. It's the same basic slime. It's just the delivery package. Yeah, like it is this. Yeah, but you're not wrong because you get the weird costumes for the Power Rangers that is like extreme sports versions of Power Rangers, and they could sell two versions of all of those, right? You could sell the original versions where like it's the mastodon in Adam's chest, and then you can sell the updated versions that has like the frog coin there. So they could definitely have both versions of those out on the shelf. Oh, I'm the frog. Also, Dulcea has no fucking reason for why he's the frog. She's like,
I know.
Yeah, like the kind you kiss.
I was gonna say he doesn't get any explanation at all.
Yeah, I do like. I also like that Aisha is the bear, and it's like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like a lot of these are actually kung fu animals that it represents. You know, like the crane and the ape being monkey style, and the frog kind of sort of being like mantis style, right? With the jumping and everything.
The bear is Kung Fu Panda style.
Oh, Kung Fu Panda style. Rawr. And the falcon, king of the skies. You are the falcon.
Oh, dude, by the way, when we come back from the new year, you and I are going to talk about Niza, because they finally put up 1 and 2 on HBO.
On HBO, yeah, I fully intend to watch
2
them.
being the most successful animated film of all time currently.
Yep.
But it is amazing. It is Kung Fu Panda, and I say that thinking they did this purposefully, right? But we'll talk more about it.
Well, I can't wait to. I'm very excited about it. Good. I didn't know where I was going to have to be where I was going to be able to find the movie. So the first one, because I knew the second one went up. I didn't realize they put the first one up with it. So that is very exciting. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Cool. That's on it. Because like I know we're talking about Power Rangers, but I finally saw Despicable Me 4 for us to talk about in the new year. I finally saw F1 the movie for us to talk about in the new year.
Interesting.
Like exciting stuff to discuss. I'm pretty excited about it. Also, Mayor of Kingstown season 4 ended. But Power Rangers, we're still talking Power Rangers. Yeah, like so you've not only do you get 2 new sets of them in the Power Ranger uniforms, you get them in the Ninja uniforms too. And you get a new Zord for everybody. Like this is such a toyetic thing, and they really learn from kind of the mistakes that Transformers the movie made. A movie that we'll probably talk about someday if I have my druthers with Sejum.
You're talking about the animated movie of the 90s.
I'm talking about the 80s, 1986 Transformers the movie. Where they killed Optimus Prime.
They learn from stuff because they have the benefit of things like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being in between.
Yes.
That's why. I mean, this is a movie that benefits greatly from seeing what Ninja Turtles did and the marketing that Turtles ends up doing and all of that. This movie, the machine, the mold in the machine was made by Ninja Turtles, and this movie fits right into it.
Oh yeah, I mean like that. This would totally be the next evolutionary step of collector behavior with toys. Ninja Turtles is dethroned by Power Rangers, down to the fact that they end up having a crossover with Power Rangers during Power Rangers in Space, when the next mutation is also a Fox Kids show. Like talking about that stuff. Well, we'll get to that. Don't worry. But yeah, so you have the next mutation of it all where they're together. But in the finale of the Archie comics, they do a 3-part finale, and who they're fighting against are Power Rangers XBs. Because like even they were like admitting that like this show is falling by the wayside to be grabbed like by the Power Rangers.
Yeah, and for clarification, you mean Archie Comics as in the production company, not actually within the world. Well, they do.
Well, they do meet Archie at one point, but yeah, Archie Comics, the publication company, because they did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventure comics, which are suddenly getting a big boost from the Battle Nexus. We're probably going to have to do some Battle Nexus talk, just because of how much Ninja Turtles history has been poured into it. Like, Ninja Turtles have existed so long as a property, right? They've been around for 41 years, right? Because 84 was when the first issue came out. We can even go 42 years because the very first drawing of a Ninja Turtle was in November of 1983. So we can be assholes if we want to be. But it's existed for so long that theories about characters are being treated as if they're brand spanking new, despite being confirmed like 40 years ago by the creators.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this leads me to believe that Renette, Lord Simultaneous, and Savanti Romero are all singular beings. Like, there's not a specific one for each version of the Turtles. And like, they said that. They were very upfront about the fact that we want you to consider these people as constants during the guest era. Like, they were right on top of that.
That means that somewhere out there is somebody that is this level of into it, like lore, as you are with Turtles, but for Power Rangers, right? Like, I want to meet that person. Who is the person that has read the comics? Who is the one that's played all of the video games? Which, God, man, Power Rangers video games. It's like looking back at Sonic games. Every now and then there's like this bright spot of like, oh yeah, the potential that this series had here. And then just every other game falls on its face.
I cannot think of... I think the Power Rangers game that I had the most fun with was the Sega Genesis one. That's like a fighting game. Like, it's structured like a fighting game. Because you start out with the 5 Rangers. The second boss you fight is Tommy as the Green Ranger, and then you unlock him. And essentially, so like Street Fighter, where it's a best of 3, once you win a round, the second round is you in the Megazord of whomever you're playing as. So if you're playing as any of the original 5, you're in the Megazord. If you're playing as Tommy, you fight as the Dragon Zord. And it is like, it is the best structured game in terms of like, oh, this feels like Power Rangers.
I think it was literally just called the fighting one. Like,
yeah, it might be
like Mighty Morphin Rangers Fighting Edition. That is literally what it was called.
Yeah. And I think that was just on
Power
Genesis.
Rangers.
I don't know if that had a Super Nintendo, because Super Nintendo had the really good like side-scrolling beat 'em up, but like you're not the Power Rangers the whole time.
Maybe that was the Fighting Edition then, because I think this is the one that was on Super Nintendo.
But then there's also Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, that has a side-scroller and one that is just like that fighting style as well. Yeah. Like, it's crazy stuff. I mean, the one thing that I'm going to say, one of the reasons I wasn't going to bring up Power Rangers video games is that, like, Rita's Rewind for last year was such a disappointment. Like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge kind of did this huge disservice to the world of beat 'em ups, because it taught everybody that like any of your mascot franchises can have a beat 'em up game. And a lot of the time, like the Wrath of Cobra, the G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra game was a real stinker upon release. Apparently they've made some changes, but I cannot bring myself to play the game again. Like, that's just a fact of it. Rita's Rewind was awful when it first came out. They have since released a thing that allows you to like change so much of it and it become a Power Ranger revenge fantasy where like you're killing everything, overkilling everything with a single hit. And like that felt pretty cool. And in that world, I understand, we're like, why have you not morphed yet? Because like once they're Power Rangers, they can kill pretty much anything. But I don't know. Like, you're right though. It is such a hit or miss sort of. Power Rangers works best as the television show. And I mean that, like, even though we're here talking about the movie, which again made back its money, justified itself a sequel, in like movie form, Power Rangers also is not at its best, because it's supposed to be like small, like quickly like consumed entertainment.
right. So the Americanized version of this, this is not going to speak to the Super Sentai stuff,
Right.
but the ways in which the American show is structured, it's very much an after school special style show.
Yeah.
Like there's episodes about like like drugs in the school and stuff like that. There's conversations about like we need to save the town arcade because it's going under. So let's throw a concert, gang. Like, is the kind of shit that goes on there, right? So when the movie becomes this epic sci-fi where they literally traveled through space to like another planet to get still somehow ancient powers, just like weirdly still humanistic ancient powers in some way. Whatever was going on there, like there's this whole element to this kind of world that really isn't what the show was ever about. The show eventually gets to the point where they're like doing like space adventures and things like that, and it becomes a little bit more sci-fi. But more than anything, the show was about like kids going to class and having homework, but then also, oh no, somebody's attacking like downtown city. We need to go save downtown city. And then they go back to doing their fucking homework, but with a little bit more appreciation about their homework now, because at least it's not a monster attacking downtown city. Like that was just what the show was to us.
Yeah, and that works in small little bits. When it gets bigger, and even then, like, I fell off for Power Rangers Zeo. I've already mentioned that. And I kind of fell off a little before Power Rangers Zeo, because they had the whole storyline where they were, like, turned into kids. And so the alien Rangers had to come in and defend Earth until the Power Rangers could get restored to their regular ages. And I'm just like, this is kind of boring because, like, I don't want to watch kids anymore. Like, I understand why they did. First of all, they had run out of Super Sentai material. They did not have any other material that they could use that looked like the Power Rangers. Right.
Yeah, basically, they would just be reusing stuff, and they knew that was not going to work.
Along the same lines, Power Rangers had blown up with the youth demographic, to the point where, like, okay, let's make it kids all the time. Like, let's make them their age. They're not teenagers. We'll make them that actual age. Though, for me, getting to spend time with teenagers as an 11-year-old was what was so appealing about the Power Rangers.
Yeah, but I think that's not really a move. I don't think it's a marketing move in terms of we want to make sure that kids we want to bring more kids to this show. I think that's a marketing move because by this point, Power Rangers is gaining that reputation as the dangerous show to let your kids watch because they're going into the playground and playing Power Rangers and hurting each other and stuff. And so this idea that, like, they were trying to tone it down for parents to see, oh well, now that they're not kids in school, like dealing with some more adult problems otherwise, maybe this is a little bit more fun for the kids now. Like it becomes kind of a move, I think, more for the parents than for the kids in that regard.
Yeah. I mean, there is also there's always that one executive who, like, kids want to see themselves on screen. It's one of the reasons why the real Ghostbusters becomes Slimer and the real Ghostbusters, and it's just Slimer hanging out with those 3 fucking kids. Like, it happens a lot. I mean, go back to Transformers the movie, not to cannibalize something we'll probably talk about regarding that film, but, like, Daniel Witwicky being introduced in that movie so that there is, like, an age-appropriate child to the people who are watching Transformers so that they can see themselves on screen. There was this big push for that. I mean, in Power Rangers, it is stuck in my head when Justin was introduced as the Blue Ranger as part of the Turbo series, and the fact that he is very much like an 11-year-old, an 11 or 12-year-old. And I'll admit this, right? Like, because I said that, no, I was like 8, 9, 10 for like the original Power Rangers. I was not 11. But when they introduced Justin, my ears perked up and I suddenly cared about Power Rangers Turbo again. Because it's like, oh, it's somebody my age who gets to be a Power Ranger. Like, it worked on me. It's a marketing thing that worked on me, so I have to imagine that same sort of thing works on other people. It's Muppet Babies. I mean, younger versions of established adult characters is something that has existed in the pop culture landscape all of our lives.
We just talked about last week with SpongeBob, right?
Yeah.
Camp Coral and the weird reception that gets because it really flies in the face of a lot of lore and stuff. But like that's what all of these shows were doing. They would do the baby version and it would completely kind of like fuck up any like real known canon, but like it didn't matter because they were babies.
Right. And so they were cute, they were marketable, like Muppet Babies. Even if you had an infant, right? Like you get them a baby Kermit, you get them a baby Piggy, because like, baby Fozzie, it's cute. Yeah, you have a little baby version to hang out with my baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like,
yeah, they even do it. They even do it with Sesame Street, which is wild because Sesame Street is the conceit that they're already kids, right? But there's even like baby versions of the baby.
Yeah, like there's baby Elmo, and it's like Elmo is 3 years old. I don't think what. Oh, he went back in time 1 year. Like, what do you mean, baby fucking Elmo? What are you talking about? Baby Prairie Dawn, I get, because Prairie Dawn was always like an adult a little bit. She was like an older, responsible Sesame Street Muppet.
Oh yeah, or like a baby Oscar would be like it would make sense, right? Because he's clearly a grumpier, older, yeah.
Like baby Big Bird. Big Bird is 7 years old.
Like Oscar is technically supposed to be like a goth kid in the 90s, right? Like a serious Gen Xer, like just completely just like jaded with the world and just fucking done with it. He's like,
yeah, I believe Ben Stiller.
Garbage.
Ben Stiller's character in Reality Bites, I think, is based on Oscar the Grouch. That is a lie. I'm making that up, but it works for me. Oscar the Grouch age. How old is Oscar the Grouch supposed to be?
Because I know that here's the thing. I know that he was created before Gen X was even that to categorize him as, but now in 2025, looking back, like he fits in so well in that whole like so he feels like he's supposed to be an angsty teen is what I'm getting at.
I love the internet though, like just straight up. While many of the Sesame Street Muppets are written with an age in mind, Carol Spinney, most famous for playing Big Bird, would often say he preferred Oscar as a 43-year-old. That specificity from the puppeteer is beautiful. But like at the time,
it's also totally on par for him. Like,
yeah. Oh man. God. Yeah, so, I mean, like, that, as far as I'm concerned, Oscar is a 43-year-old. But it is believed that his birth year is 1939. So with Sesame Street premiering in 1969, he'd be, like, 30 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something to think about. But it's something like that. And so, gosh, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. There's one last thing I know that I want to make sure that we talk about, because it is the part of this movie that has stuck with me, these last 30 years.
Yeah.
But before I introduce that, anything else you want to make sure that we cover in this episode?
Well, are you about to talk about the soundtrack for this movie?
No, I am not about to talk about the soundtrack for this movie. So let's talk about the soundtrack
of this movie. Because it's a pretty fucking awesome soundtrack. Also does not say Power Rangers to me in the least when I listen to it. It's a good collection of songs, but man, is it so disconnected from what I think of when I think of Power Rangers.
I have to bring up the actual thing, so I want to be able to talk about it. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie soundtrack. I don't usually say out loud when I am typing. I just want people to know that I do that for you. But like the freaking the song while they're jumping out of the plane, was it people who sings that song?
It's a cover of Higher Ground.
It's Higher Ground by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Thank you.
But it's Red Hot Chili Peppers doing a cover of Higher Ground, originally by Stevie Wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think about. Who did the song originally?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's Stevie Wonder that did Higher Ground originally.
Yeah, it is Stevie Wonder. So I was like trying to think of that, but like the cover of it is the one that always jumps to my head from this movie. And then, like, they do Free Ride, which it's Dan Hartman covering Free Ride. It is not Edgar Winter Group. Like, it is all these people covering these songs, and it's like, oh, okay. But like
But then they
Dale,
use Van Halen, right?
they do use
Halen.
they use Dreams, which is great, and also brought me right back to like the Carnival fucking Dream, because that was the theme song of the ship. So every embarkation day, I had to do a laser show to Van Halen's Dreams. So I'm watching Power Rangers and I'm like, man, I didn't think I'd be having a carnival sort of nostalgia trip with this movie. Sorry. But yeah, it is like, but Dale, she's like, oh, it's like Dazed and Confused, but with Power Rangers. Because it's all like that same sort of 70s music until it's not anymore. Where they use snaps, I Got the Power. They got the They Might Be Giants, Send Surround song.
Yeah.
The I song, the Alpha song.
Fucking and then even the behind the scenes orchestra for doing like the between like
the interstitial
the license shit is like people like fucking Tim Pierce, who was like a guy that would tour with like the Goo Goo Dolls and fucking Joe Crocker and shit, and like a guy that like people that were just damn fucking good, too good to be doing Power Rangers the movie soundtrack work.
So I mean, the big one that sticks with me from this movie is Trouble by Shampoo.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
We're in trouble. That one, because Power Rangers was such a big fucking deal that they premiered the movie, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie version of their music video, because Shampoo had already done a music video for the song Trouble. But when it was picked to be in the Power Rangers movie, they did a new music video of the girls just singing at the camera with stuff from the movie in it. And that music video premiered during an episode of The Simpsons. Like, I remember them like, oh, make sure you're watching The Simpsons this week to see the new music video for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. And I was there. I sat and I'm like, I don't even want to care about the set. I care about the Power Rangers. Like, yeah, in terms of music, like, it's such a well put together film for the time. And that is, I think, the most important like thing to note about this movie is that, yeah, God, I mean, freaking Buckethead.
It's unabashedly, though, a giant commercial.
Yep.
It is unabashedly meant for a younger audience. Like, there is no hesitation, and we don't make movies like this anymore, and that is, I think, a real shame. Like, I know that there is something to be said about the ways in which this marketed itself to kids and how that's kind of a gross thing, right? But like, there was creativity on display in this movie that was just wildly like impressive then, and is still now. I think that there is still some good shit in this movie that is like surprising considering the end result. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I think if I had to categorize it, what really works about this particular film for me is that I don't think they're aiming for permanence. And that might sound like strange or anything, but I think that is one of the things that defines the films of what we were exposed to in the 80s and 90s, is that movies were made for the moment. Like, this movie, nobody was thinking when they made the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie in 1995 that two, like, guys on the steps of 40 would be sitting down and talking about it for their podcast.
Like, no, I mean, that's true of even, like, we've talked about that even in, like, the world of comedy movies, right? Yeah. And the idea that, like, movies that were being made for the moment, so they didn't care that in 10 years this might be offensive. You know what I mean? There was no thought to what are people going to think about this in the future. They just did it then because that was what they knew was funny in the moment. And in a way, like, you kind of can't predict like what movies you're going to stick. But I know what you're saying. There are plenty of artists now that try real hard to make something timeless, quote
To make
unquote.
something not just timeless or something that will be remembered, right?
Hmm.
Where like something like this movie that is unabashedly of its time, unabashedly a commercial for children, right? Like here's a 95 minutes that are trying to sell the most impressionable members of us of our society on something. This is a movie
Right.
that is essentially trying to indoctrinate an entire generation of children to buy Power Rangers figures. And I say that, I use the term indoctrination because when I look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, it does not have the same sort of sticking power that the Ninja Turtles have clearly shown themselves to have. I mean, I think there is 1 year since the Turtles show premiered in 1987 that we did not have something Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles related, like, available and new being produced. Like,
Well, and I think that it never Power Rangers never latched onto the hearts of people
right.
like the Turtles did, right? Like the Turtles became near and dear to people, and that's not to say that there are not people that
Feel that way about
there are
Power
people that
Rangers,
love
yeah.
the Power Rangers. There are people that love the Power Rangers, but culturally and like at large, Power Rangers became kind of a niche thing that people, if people got really into Power Rangers, it was super niche. If people got really into Turtles, there was a time when that was niche, but we've long since passed that. That
Yeah.
is now a thing that that people proudly will talk about, right? But there's still some people out there that I think really kind of hide like the deep love for Power
Well,
Rangers that they probably have.
and
Because like I don't know.
that's what I was gonna connect it to, because like Ninja Turtles, it just kind of happened, right? Something about it made it this like thing that wormed its way into our hearts, but then everything that comes after it is trying to replicate that, right? It's like Ninja Turtles was this unobserved thing, but then once we saw that it happened, we tried to inject that into everything that came after it. So Power Rangers has that attempted indoctrination, right? Pokemon and the indoctrination of Pokemon into people's hearts and minds with the whole gotta catch 'em all, right? Like there really is sort of this thing that's almost religious in a way. And I know that's sacrilegious to say, especially during this, our celebration of Ninjativity for 2025, but it's true. They are really trying to connect the people so that it will be long time. And as much as like we can both say that Mighty Morphin Power Rangers never really grew above that like sort of niche standing, they were the biggest things in the world for a while there, right? Undeniably, the Power Rangers were a big deal.
Oh yeah, I mean more today, right? Because
Right.
like a Power Rangers video game comes out, and you're the only person I've ever heard talk about it. You know what I mean? Like whereas like the Turtles game comes out, and I have people that don't even play video games being like, "Ooh, maybe I should pick up a Switch to try this new Ninja Turtles thing." It's like you're gonna go out of your way to get an entire system just for this? I don't know if I maybe yeah.
Do you have a PC at home? Maybe try Steam before you buy a whole console. Though I understand that can be difficult. But what I was going to talk about was this year, right? Hasbro has owned the Power Rangers license for a while, but they decided to license out to Playmates, which is smart. Playmates has everything with the Ninja Turtles, right? Everybody losing their collective minds over. We'll talk about it a little bit more once it's next year, right? Not in this episode, but like the announcement that Playmates is not going to have the Ninja Turtles license after the end of 2026, and like people are like mourning that. People are upset that Playmates will no longer have the license, and I have a lot of thoughts about it. We can talk about those later, but Playmates got the Power Rangers license. And they released a whole set of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, no White Ranger. They have like a Rita, they have a Putty Patroller, they have the Morphers, like whole slew. Like you go out into the world, 2025, it looks like it's the 90s again in terms of the amount of Power Ranger like swag and lucre and merchandise that are in the toy aisles. And I personally have had many conversations with strangers about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and how people our age are super excited to get this stuff because they remember the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like, it's more the fact that Power Rangers has kind of, by its very nature of the fact that we only have a set amount of stock footage that we can put into this series, right?
Yeah.
It's always constantly growing, evolving, and changing with that. And new toys come along with that. And on some level, yeah, that's exciting because it means that there's always new merchandise on the shelves for people to covet and want to collect. But what we saw with the Playmates line of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was this twofold nostalgia for the toys that people had when they were younger, right? Like straight up real conversations about the nostalgia for Tommy and Billy and Zach, right? Not even Power Rangers who end up in this movie. That's another thing, right? We're a year out from it and they already replaced 3 fucking Rangers by the time the movie comes out. That's insane. Sorry. But yeah, and fucking Tommy Oliver has gone from Green Ranger to White Ranger. They were pumping that shit out.
Like, green is the color of evil or something like that.
Well, yeah, because so he started as the Green Ranger, who was evil and controlled by Rita, and then they saved him. And actually, I remember being on the bus, the episode where they were going to reintroduce Tommy getting his Green Ranger powers back. And the reason for that is that they have just less footage of the Green Ranger. So they eliminated him. They say that your powers are gone because of that. And then they got more footage. They found more footage or new ways to edit that footage into stuff so they could have the Green Ranger come back again. But then when that depleted, that's when they introduced the White Tiger Zord and Tommy went from green to white. But I remember the episode where Tommy was going to get his powers back. My school bus broke down and like this kind of antagonistic kid on my school bus was like, Devin, you're probably going to lose your mind. You're not going to be home in time to see Tommy get his fucking powers back. And I didn't even know that was happening. Cause like I watched the show, but I wasn't like connected to the marketing. Like if I caught an episode, I caught an episode. And I remember looking at this kid and like, I just see Scud Farkas from A Christmas Story. I'll be honest. He definitely had like the red hair and like the big teeth. This guy, I don't remember his name at all. And he says that to me and I'm like,
oh, Doyle's rule.
You're trying to mock me, but like, I didn't even know that was happening today. Why the fuck do you? And the whole school bus turned on it. It's like, yeah, you must be a Power Rangers fan, making fun of him for being a Power Rangers fan. That was a good moment. That was a fun moment in my life. But like that nostalgia that people had that I want to get these figures, or, and this is the bigger thing that I think Playmates was hoping for, these fathers that I would see out at the toy aisles being like, yeah, I'm buying them for my kid so I can share this with my kids. This thing I liked when I was younger, I can share it with my kids. So, I mean, it's there. There is clearly that nostalgia for the Power Rangers. The problem is that it's just so diluted, right? The Ninja Turtles are basically Donatello, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael, right? I said those alphabetically. Thanks, Jeopardy, for doing that to my brain. Like, there haven't been thousands upon thousands of different turtles.
Right. Yeah. At most, you have people arguing about eras, but they're still characters that they've had time to grow and attached to, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. And even through the eras, they don't differentiate that much. To quote Savanti Romero in the Battle Nexus book that released like this past Wednesday, like, it never fails, regardless of their multiversal origins, the purple one tends to be the smartest. Like,
yeah, and Mikey always is the goofy one, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, and that's a thing. So like, you can have that nostalgia for those characters and how they've grown and changed. Power Rangers, like, even within the first year, there were multiple Red Rangers, right? Like, So it doesn't have that same kind of longevity like on paper,
Yeah.
but you
But
do
it doesn't
still
want
see
it
it.
either.
Yeah, I don't
It's
think
not
it wants it
asking
either.
for it
Yeah,
either.
because it wants you to the next time that we show you a new group of Rangers, we want you to go out and buy those Rangers. Then the next one and things like that. And yeah, talk about in the Turtles being in the DNA of Power Rangers. First of all, they're teenagers. But second of all, the color coding, right? The 87 series color coded the Turtles. And the big reason for that color coding was because Playmates was like, parents are not going to buy 4 of the identical figure. You need to do something to differentiate them. So colored bandanas was the way that they went with that. And so the Power Rangers are all based on their colors.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the last thing I want to talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, is the resolution and how they defeat Ivan Ooze. Something that has lived rent-free in my mind since I saw this film at the drive-in. And that is, for some reason, Aisha, the Yellow Ranger, who is the left arm of the Ninja Megazord, has a push in case of emergency button located next to her station. And that causes Ivan Ooze to get kneed in the testicles. Which is what sends him spinning off into space to be obliterated by Ryan's comet.
So I was going to say, one of my favorite things in this movie, I forget, like earlier when we were kind of talking about the effects and things like that, one of my favorite things is the ways in which the ooze introduces this really wild kind of violent way that guys get dispatched, right? Because like the putties would always kind of melt away, right? Like that was,
they're made
that
of
was part
clay.
of what,
Yeah.
Right. But the way that the ooze guys like splat onto shit, and that fight scene in the construction site when they first introduced them, and the ways in which they all just kind of like, every single one of them has to go through a mesh grating of some kind just so they could show you that splat effect again. And then it leads into the finale of this movie being him being destroyed by the comet and splattering all over the place in space.
Yeah. Like it's that moment, right? Like when the first time they kill one of the oozlings, I'm like, oh, Aisha just murdered somebody. And it's like, no,
that fucking the
dumpster
that they drop on the group of them. Oh my god!
Yeah, like, and also they should be able to reconstitute themselves, right? Like they're just.
Did they have a? There was a moment where there was a cartoon in this movie, right?
Yeah, when they give them what the Ninja Turtles would do, where they hit like a foot soldier with their shells, like they would attack with their backs. Rocky and Adam are like best friends in this movie. I don't remember that from the series, but they're like the team is like Rocky and Adam, and they do like a double whammy where they both come at an oozling from the sides and flying kick them in the head. And it becomes a cartoon for like 3 seconds, and it's fucking
for like literally
weird.
like 2 frames or something like that. It's crazy.
It's insane, but yeah, that does happen. Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I've had fun, like sitting here reminiscing about this movie, the myriad of conversation tributaries that we've been able to go down as a result of this. The fact that I'm gonna watch Chimp Lips Theater after this. Like, this was fun. It was fun to do this. Solid choice, Sejin, as like a film to enjoy, and a film that is weirdly part of our shared lore as friends from that DVD night. Like,
oh man,
I'm glad that this was what our Ninjativity special was for 2025. As bummed out as I am that it's going to be another year for the 3 ninjas. And again, apologies everybody who's reached out like, I can't believe you delayed the ninjas. Like, understand that there's a reason for it. And it's because nothing should have to share the stage with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. There just won't be enough scenery left after Ivan Ooze gets done with it. Though I will say, Metroid Prime 4, more information on that one coming in the new year as well. There's a moment where one guy goes, knuckle up! And I'm like, oh, we should have done 3 ninjas. I'm so mad at myself. So thanks, Nintendo, for that guilt trip. All right, last look, Siege. Anything else you want to talk about regarding Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie?
No, they like get drunk, have a good time with some friends, and watch this movie sometime because it's a blast.
Yeah, and just understand it's fun. That's what this film is. This film is all about a fun, not trying to be the latest greatest. All right. So this has been the Say Report. This is our final episode releasing for the year of 2025. Thanks to everybody who joined us on the adventure through this year. We look forward to seeing you again in 2026 with the final few episodes of season 9 and then starting the 10th season of the Say Report. Can you believe we've been doing this for 10 seasons, CJ?
I know, man. It's crazy.
There's some crazy stuff. But if you want some more Say Report on your off time, we have a Discord server that you could join us in. Invitations to join are available wherever we are on social media, which as of this recording is still Facebook and X, formerly Twitter. Just go to the bio. You can click on the link and join the Discord to talk with us in real time, which is crazy. If you're not on social media, which no one can blame you, Sejan's not on social media, contact us, thesayreport@gmail.com, and we can facilitate you with an invitation to join the Discord to talk with us in real time. But again, if Discord feels a little too social media-y for you, I get that. I understand. So we can just correspond via email, like it's the early 90s. Just send those emails to thesayreport@gmail.com. And the most important thing to remember is that if it's specifically for me, Devin Decker, or for him, Sijan Sarwick, just put our name in the subject line, and we will make sure that it is distributed appropriately to the Say Reporter you have chosen. But please keep in mind that if you write something for Sijan, he will be the only one who reads it, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to bring it up on an episode. You just saw it. A lot of people have been writing out to me to be like disappointed about Three Ninjas getting delayed a year. I talked about it. I didn't blow anybody's spot up, but anything that you do submit to the show, there is a chance that it could wind up being content for the show. So just keep that in mind. We're just covering our asses by saying that, basically, from like a legal standpoint. But just understand it, because we do want to hear from you, and we'd love to talk back to you. And if you're not in the Discord, the best way to do that is email. I think that's everything that I have to say. Sijan, happy 2025 to you. I look forward to sitting down with you in the new year. And William, please bring us home. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devin Decker and Sijan Sarwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.